Even though this is just 2 vintage collection figures, I'm still very excited about today's video, because obviously we have another use of that amazing Times Vader, the best Vader Hasbro's ever made. This is what, use number 4? And now we have it in the classic A New Hope flavor with the cloth over the chest plate, and it looks incredible. Probably won't have too much to say on that because it is very similar to one we've already seen, but finally, after what, 20 years? We have a new 3 3/4 inch Princess Leia Organa in her classic, iconic white dress. I have been dying for updates to the A New Hope cast, because A New Hope is my favorite original Star Wars movie. It's just the most iconic. It introduces us to the whole universe, and I just love the looks of the characters. We've been set on Chewbacca for a while. I think Chewie's okay. We might, could probably use a new one, but he's been okay. But I really feel like the rest of the cast, Old Ben, Luke, Leia, Han, like they have been desperately in need of new modern vintage collection figures. And I'm so happy we finally have a new Leia. And don't worry, I do have the old one here, sort of, to compare it to, just to see how much we desperately needed a new one, because we definitely did. Alrighty, so let's talk about Vader first. Let's talk about Vader, because he is our main character in the entire saga, in my opinion. Vader, Anakin, he's the chosen one. Sure, the sequel trilogy was kind of like, he's just a helmet now. He's a burnt helmet. They really should have had Anakin's ghost in the sequels. They really should have. Like, why did Anakin's ghost not go to Kylo Ren? Why not? That would have been so nice. I'm happy they did redeem it in Ahsoka a little bit, and we did see Anakin's spirit in there, because Ahsoka really needed that closure with Anakin, in my opinion. So I'm happy they did that. I'm really happy they did that. But, yeah. I'm actually not sure if I'm going to display this Vader with the lightsaber, because all my other versions of this Vader have the lightsaber. And this Vader always has that, great pointing hand. Like, he's got that great pointer, and then he's got a fisted hand. I do display my Times Vader with a fist, because it just looks so good. Let's cut this tape, get that out a little bit better. I don't know, man. I feel like I have so many versions of Vader, I need to have at least one without the lightsaber. It does seem pretty standard for this mold, though. And then we have the hilt up here, thankfully. So I'm guessing the only real new part is going to be that chest armor, but I do have the Times Vader to compare it to, just to kind of see what's going on here. And taking a closer look at this Vader, yeah, seems incredible. Definitely has that Times Vader thing going on. Same incredible articulation. Same absolutely perfect helmet sculpt. Still has the, separation between the helmet paint, where, one side's silver, one side's not. That always looks so gorgeous on original Vader. Love that. Yeah, he's got the same nice leg articulation. Yeah, it's just in A New Hope flavor now. And like I've said many times, I will take any excuse I can get to have the version of Times Vader, because in my opinion, Darth Vader makes for some of the best Star Wars action figures. I mean, if you're a kid playing with Star Wars toys, you need a Vader. If you're an adult collector, you need several Vaders for, every shelf. I'm like, oh, I need a New Hope Vader, I need Empire Strikes Back, I need this Vader, that Vader. And yeah, this one definitely does the part. I'm noticing a bit of rough edge work on the cape. That's pretty unusual for Hasbro capes. That's not looking good. Yeah, that's surprising. I'm kind of disappointed in that. I might have to clean that up a little bit. But yeah, definitely looking good. I'm thinking I might display this Vader. Oh, whoa! Let me pan down real quick. What is going on? Look at all of that flake from the cape. What? I have never seen that on a Hasbro Vader before. What is going on? Why is there so much flake? All this material's coming off. They must have goofed up on the cape somehow. That's wild. You can probably see it's on my hands too a little bit. Yeah, you can see it on my fingers a little bit. That's wild, man. I'm sure it's going to be even more. Let me bring in that Times Vader before this cape disintegrates. But you can see the Times one. Look at how clean that edge is. There's a couple little spots, but nothing too crazy. It's pretty clean. You can see, yeah. Is that just dusty? Yeah, it's just dusty a little bit. I definitely feel like this new A New Hope one is a little shinier in the helmet. I appreciate that. But yeah, the torso you can definitely see different with the chest plate right there with the fabric over it. Does it have any like subtle little differences like in the control box? Maybe. It's not that big of a difference, but you know, you might see something there. Yeah, pretty much seems identical except for that chest plate, and I definitely appreciate having this, even though all this material flaking off is just so wild to me. Obviously, he can hold the lightsaber, and he can hold it fantastically, especially since he has downward hinges at the wrist. So you can get him in those iconic A New Hope lightsaber Vader poses, like you see on the card back, where he's a little bit more subdued, not necessarily as badass, just kind of holding the saber, looking a little doofy with it. Yeah, he can definitely do that. Looking great. But the main thing I think I'm going to display him with, because I just have so many Vaders with the lightsaber already. Let me get the hilt in the hole. I'm hoping that'll fit. Looks like it should. So I got the hilt in there, but it took a lot of force, and for whatever reason, this black paint must have been painted over the silver paint, because it just came right off as I was trying to push it in. Look at that. You can just see where that black paint up by the hilt is just gone. So that's fun. Appreciate that. But nothing that a little bit of paint or Sharpie won't fix. Let's give him that pointing hand, because I don't have any of these like Dark Times Vaders displayed with his pointing hand. I'm thinking about having him posed with Leia in the whole like, "You're part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor." Like that's how I want him posed. So let's have him holding his belt. Let's have him doing the point. Dude, this cape. What the hell? That is insane, man. I'm very disappointed. And there's like so much more on the desk now. Like I guess it's all like coming off, but not in a good way. Like I don't know if I can like try to trim that down or what. Like especially around the shoulder, that looks ugly. Like there's just so much material just flaking right off. I'm like, the figure itself is great. I mean, it's Dark Times Vader, but this cape is such a disappointment. It's so poorly done. Like the edge work is just miserable. What the hell? Well, anyways, poor cape aside, I do like this Vader a lot. If you're not worried about the difference between like Dark Times and A New Hope, you could probably skip on this one, but I enjoy it. I definitely have to do some DIY assistance to this cape, because look at all of that. Like here, can I like sweep it all together so you can like see just how much came off? Look at all that. That's insane. And it's all, oh my gosh, dude. It's all over my fingers. Whoa. Yucky. Well, thankfully, A New Hope Leia doesn't have any materials that can just totally flake off on this one. So this should be a more pleasant experience. I am so shocked about that. That's why I like making these like vintage collection videos first impressions. Because number one, there's not much to say on them. Like there really isn't. You know, articulation's pretty much always the same with them. And, you know, the details, you have eyes, you can look at them. But yeah, it's, you know, I like getting that first impression to see if there's anything wrong or anything that surprises me. And hopefully this Leia will surprise me in a better way than the Vader did. Right off the bat, I appreciate that she comes with an E11 and her standard Princess Blaster. Definitely appreciate that. I also really appreciate this hood. Like, that is a very nice inclusion. Most Princess Leia figures, it's like you have to choose between the hood or no hood. But this one, it gives you the option. Does that come off? Yeah, so that comes off. So that's hood down, and then you can have hood up. I really appreciate that. Alright, first impressions are pretty positive. Except for one thing that I kind of might have a big problem with. So I probably could have seen this coming, given how the dress is sculpted plastic. But she is essentially a traffic cone. Any leg articulation she has is essentially useless. Like her hips, like forget it. Like you don't even have access to those hips. The knees, there are knees up there, and they look like they're really high up. Like, the knee is, like, right there. I feel like that's not right. She does have knees and she does have ankles, so she does have some articulation, but Seems like most of it's just going to be up top. She does look gorgeous, though. Like, as a Princess Leia to stand there, she looks great. But I honestly would have probably liked a cloth skirt. I probably would have. I don't think it would have looked that bad. Especially since the old one used a cloth skirt to make sure you could still move the legs. So, this one, I don't know, I'll probably give her the Princess Blaster. Yeah, that looks nice. Definitely liking that. One thing I'm curious about, though, is how she looks with the hood. Because you don't get to see Princess Leia figures with the hood very often. Wow, that looks really nice. Wow, I might keep her with the hood. That looks really good. I have her in like my Tantive 4 display. I don't really know how to say it. Tantive. Again, Star Wars names. Not worried about it. Yeah, that looks good. And I do appreciate how the hood covers the hole, too. Definitely appreciate that. But I also just... I appreciate that we do have a new Leia after all this time. I do understand the choice with giving her the plastic robe, because it does make her look very nice when she is just standing there. But, I mean, this Princess Leia did have more iconic poses, or more, like, dynamic poses. She did fight in the Death Star cell block. You know, she did actually have action scenes in this outfit. So I'm kind of disappointed that they don't really give you that option. But still, it's okay. It's okay. You can give her the E11 too if you do want to do that cell block. But yeah, it really seems like you're going to have no range of motion in the legs. Like, the articulation is there, but the posability isn't. I can't even move it enough to even see the joint. Like, there is a joint up there, but like I can't even access it. It's way too tight up there. Maybe if you did want to like fully cut it up the top, you would have more range of motion. That's definitely an option. They did already cut it a little bit, but I feel like even that cut... Like, here, let me, like, get her in a pose where she's bending her knee. Like, can I even see how the knee joint is directed? So the knee joint's directed that way. Oh, my gosh. So it's directed that way. Okay, I've got it bent. That's as far as it bends. So, yeah, she essentially is a traffic cone. She has no posability from the waist down. She looks great, but the articulation is a huge disappointment. I do want to bring in the old Princess Leia. This one's kind of a bit of a kit bash, because I have the medical frigate Leia body with the A New Hope head. So do keep in mind, the original A New Hope Leia does not have these hinged arms. She has swivel arms. But other than that, it's essentially the same figure. So after like 20 years, you can definitely see the likeness has improved significantly. That likeness is so much better on the new one. But I don't know, man. I feel like this fabric, like, under, like this fabric lower skirt, works fine, looks fine. Kind of wish this one had it. Who knows, maybe they'll end up doing a different release where she does have the fabric. Maybe in, like, a multi-pack or something. Just to give you the option as a collector. But, you know, I do appreciate this as a version of Leia. Like, I do... Like, if they did make the cloth and then made the plastic, I would probably still want the plastic one, too. But I don't know, man. Like, there's no posability from the waist down. There's none at all. But this one, like, you can actually move the legs. You can actually kind of have her, like, kneeling a little bit. Now, granted, she just has swivel hips. She just has these weird hinged knees with, like, no swivel above the knee. So you can't even move the knees, and then her swivel foot is like a swivel boot. So her articulation has never been the greatest. But yeah, very odd. One thing I'm curious about, can we give her the hood? You can! That's nice. Now granted, she's got a double hood thing going on. But yeah, whichever one doesn't get the hood, I'll definitely make sure this hood gets used. Because that looks nice. That actually looks really nice that you could actually put the hood on the old one. But I don't know, man. I'm really digging the hood on the new one. I just like the look of that. Even though I do think ultimately how I'm going to display this, at least for the end of this video, is, well, kind of already teased it. I told you you couldn't go out with Han last night, and you did anyway. Why must you always disappoint me? Yeah, I think it's pretty cool that they released both of these in the same wave. Obviously, they did re-release the standard A New Hope Stormtrooper as well, which I appreciate. That was originally released as a Walmart exclusive. I've already talked about that. I wasn't worried about going over that again. It's nice to have it, but I just really wanted to talk about these two. The Vader, is really nice, except for whatever the hell is going on with his cape. I have no idea. I don't know if it needs a more clean cut, or if there's just so much loose material on it, or what. But the cape situation and all of that fabric flake was insane. But other than that, I appreciate the alternate hands, the lightsaber hilt, even though it was a little difficult to get into the belt. I really enjoy the Vader. Is it my favorite version of this Vader? I don't know. I still think I like the Return of the Jedi one more. I know a lot of people were like, oh, the seam looks really awful. I didn't think so. I thought the seam looked fine. I appreciated having a Vader with the removable helmet. So I would currently say the Return of the Jedi is still my favorite version of this new Vader. The Leia is nice. I appreciate that we finally have a new Leia after 20 years. But I'm very disappointed that the lower half is absolutely non-usable. I expected the cut to be a little better and the material to be a little softer, where you could at least somewhat pose the legs. But you can't do nothing with them legs. Nothing. You are absolutely locked in with just her standing there. Now, granted, she did just stand there for the majority of the movie. But if you want to have her posed in, like, you know, laying down in the cell block, if you want to have her posed, like, shooting at stormtroopers, if you want to have her posed, like, you know, in the trash compactor, can't do anything from the waist down, essentially. Not unless you want to cut the skirt more or just replace it with cloth goods. You don't really have a choice. I do appreciate this Leia, though. It'll definitely be my front and center Leia on my A New Hope shelf. I'm very happy it exists. I'm very happy it's a thing. And I'm very happy that Hasbro was able to finally give us one after all of these years. So, do I recommend these figures? Not perfect, unfortunately. This is one of the very few times that I feel like modern vintage collection has actually kind of let me down. You know, the Vader had that weird thing going on with the cape, and the Leia is just a traffic cone. I still enjoy both of these, for sure. I'm very happy I have them both in my collection, and, you know, whenever I do get around to making some dioramas with all of these Star Wars figures I'm buying, I will be very happy to have these, because A New Hope is my favorite original Star Wars movie. It's my second favorite Star Wars movie, period. So, yeah, I'm very happy to have two of the most iconic characters, two of the very first characters we ever meet in plastic form. I'm very happy that they're able to do this. And, yeah, after 20 years of waiting, I'm very happy that we finally have an updated Leia. With all of that being said, let me know what you think about these down in the comments below. If you got this A New Hope Vader, did yours also have that crazy cape problem? Please let me know about that down in the comments. That's something I really need to know about. And how do you feel about Leia in her traffic cone state of being? I'm very curious about that. Alrighty guys, thank you again very much for watching. Special shout out to channel members as always. Thank you all so much for the continued support. Have a great one guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.